And we're back, Stripe Show podcast on a Tuesday. I'm Travis Fulton. Hope you're off to a good start this week. Big week, second leg in Florida. They go just a little bit north from Jupiter, where they were, West Palm Beach area. That was the Honda Classic. We talked about that yesterday on the podcast. Go check it out. But on a Tuesday, we flip it ahead. We don't waste any time. We like to move on, cut our losses. As I mentioned, I was all over Daniel Berger. I was counting my cash, 19-1. Yeah, you gotta hit some of those favorites once in a while. But I was okay at 19, and 5 shots and 5 holes gone. Anyway, I'm not thinking about that anymore. Arnold Palmer Invitational is this week. Joining me from Golf Digest to break it down, Christopher Powers. How you doing, man?
Awesome. Thanks for having me. You guys have been on quite the run recently, so I'm glad to be a part of it.
Hey, no, we appreciate it. You do some great work there at Digest. We've actually done some things in the past. Folks, you're looking at someone who actually is living the dream right now, going through Operation Baby Draw. That's Powers. He does it.
Yeah, I do. I mentioned to you when you reached out, when I started at Golf Digest, I was actually transcribing kind of descriptions for videos on the teaching videos. So I'm actually, you and I go way back. You didn't even realize it, but I watched many of your videos, and they helped me quite a bit on the golf course, I will say. So appreciate that. You didn't even know it.
Well, thank you for that. Those videos that we did one that was really cool. It was kind of a home type of training program that people could do in their house. And I remember on the set, we had like this couch, and I was doing some of the lesson plans from the couch, like going through the grip and those kinds of things. But yeah, very creative. Digest, certainly my favorite publication. You do a lot of things for them. You've picked up our story a couple of times with the podcast, so we appreciate it. But I also know you're very big into this gambling. You're a good follow. Go follow him at Twitter at cpowers14. And you like to make a few wagers, break it down. And you're a bit of a heater. You didn't hit last week, but I understand, if I'm not mistaken, you hit the previous 2 weeks, right? You were on Scheffler.
Correct.
And you were, who am I missing?
Neiman, which was, as you know, with Berger, you were feeling pretty good all week. Pretty good on Sunday, even after the start, still felt good about it. So Neiman, even though he was kind of cruising with Cam Young, kind of breathing down his neck, it's hard to ever really feel too good about your outright tickets. So much can happen on Sunday. Just ask Daniel Berger, obviously. But that was a nice hit to go wire to wire, and kind of felt a little comfortable on Sunday down the stretch, even with Morikawa kind of creeping up there. But yeah, it's tough to hit winners. So when you go back to back, I kind of knew I couldn't keep it going. But we'll see. We'll try and get back on the horse this week.
Well, let's get into it. Arnold Palmer Invitational in Bay Hill. It's in Orlando. I've played this course many times. I've played in the Pro-Am a few different times. In fact, I played with Victor Hovland right before he turned pro, right after he won the U.S. Amateur. That was fun to watch him absolutely hit it dead straight for 4.5 straight hours, and particularly off the tee. Ironically, though, he hasn't fared very well here. And this is a golf course that, having adequate distance and being able to hit the fairway certainly has some value. He's a good iron player, but Hovland hasn't bode well. We'll get to that in a minute. Guys that have, Bryson, of course, he's the defending champ, but he's not playing. He had to withdraw. His wrist is still bothering him. Won it in 2021. I'm going to miss it. And that was fun last year. I got to tell you, Bryson can be quirky and kind of his own way, and he rubs people the wrong way. But that tournament last year, watching him hit that driver was a lot of damn fun, and I'm going to miss him. Hatton, he won it in 2020. He's here. Molinari won it in 2019. Rory actually blitzed him that year. He was 18 under back in 2018. Leish has won it. Day has won it. And then you go all the way back to 15 and 14. Matt Every went back-to-back. He'll be our guest, actually, tomorrow on the Stripe Show podcast.
That'll be a good one.
It'll be a good one. He's always interesting to listen to. And then right before that, Tiger Woods. He won it back-to-back, which made it number 7 and number 8. So those are some of the previous winners. When you get to Florida, I live here. The Honda is very penalizing, right? I mean, you can make a double bogey just blinking. You don't even have to hit a bad shot. I saw guys hit good shots into those par threes. They air mailed it just a little bit, went into the water, didn't get up and down, double bogey, just like that. It's not as volatile at Bay Hill. There is some water, but it's not going to be quite like we saw at the Honda. I would say next week, TPC Sawgrass probably is a little bit more penal than Bay Hill. Bay Hill can play tough with the wind. I think there's going to be a little wind starting on Friday. Thursday looks beautiful. The sun's going to be out, folks, mid-80s here. We've had great weather. But I do think there's going to be a little more wind on Friday and Saturday in particular. Now, that can change. But you start getting to that 15-20, Bay Hill is going to play certainly more difficult. Par 72, Bermuda. Give our viewers a little bit more here about Bay Hill. When you think of Bay Hill, when you think of this tournament, what comes to mind?
Well, what comes to mind is, we always talk about the unofficial start of the season. For some people it's Kapalua, some people it's Torrey. Growing up for me, it was this because Tiger was always in it on Sunday, and that was kind of appointment television. My dad and I, even my mom, she wanted to see Arnold Palmer at the end, kind of shake everybody's hand. So this was always a fun Sunday for me and my dad. And a big time event, it was always a big field, even though Tiger was winning it every year. There were still big names there. Masters was right around the corner, and, golf season in New Jersey was right around the corner. So it was this kind of really got me amped up every year. So very, very excited for this one. I know I saw a picture of someone posted of the rough. We always get those pictures of the long rough, and then they end up cutting it like the day before the tournament. So I don't know. It'll still be long. It's usually always long here. You got to still hit the fairway. But fun week. Par fives are big, obviously. Those par fives that Bryson kind of picked apart last year. So that's kind of what I'm targeting, guys who score well on the par fives. You would think Hovland, you mentioned, is a guy that can do that, but you've played here a bunch. I have not. You gotta kind of get up and down from a lot of spots around these greens this week, and that's obviously not Hovland's strong suit. So
right,
yeah,
no question. When I play Bay Hill and I think of Bay Hill, and it's interesting. I think the stories about Tiger, right? And I think you share that sentiment with a lot of people, right? Because he's been such a big part of the history. I mean, he's won it 8 times, for crying out loud. I mean, he's won a lot of tournaments 6, 7, 8 times, but he's been dominant here. There's no question. Until Matt Every showed up, and then Matt Every went back to back. When I think of Bay Hill, par fives are critical. I find myself hitting a lot of shots from longer distance. This is not a wedge type of golf course. There's a lot of dog legs. Guys, it kind of forces their hand to hit it to dog legs. I think when you have that with adequate distance, then you're faced with a lot of middle iron play, long iron play into these greens. You'll see more 200-yard shots here probably than anywhere else. So so to me, like this mid long iron guys being able to throw it in there, obviously hit it straight, but that trajectory plays a role. Club head speed. You think of Bryson, you think of Leash, that high fade. Day can sling it up there. We know Tiger can sling it up there. And Molinari is a good mid-range iron player. So that always kind of, fits to me. The par threes are brutal here. I mean, brutal. The second hole is just uncomfortable. I've played that hole 6 times. I'm not sure I've ever made anything better than a bogey. 17 is a tough hole, especially with the wind. The par threes are tough. They're long. They're very penalizing. So I think you got to escape, the par threes, very long. You got to take advantage of the par fives. But then I'm looking for that middle iron type of player, that can attack from the dog legs. And again, when you get to Florida, I think accuracy starts to play more of a role. We saw it last week. Sepp Straka led the field in driving accuracy. When's the last time that happened and won a PGA Tour event? I think you can kind of go down that path a little bit with Bay Hill, and I think Sawgrass fits that mold too. Like, you've got to be in the fairway. So I think those are some of the things to think about. Keep in mind, the first 2 holes and the last 2 holes are difficult. I mean, they hit you right square between the face out of the gate, and then they hit you again coming in. Those are 4 of the most difficult holes on the golf course. Like any other event, approach is huge. Christopher, I think, the Bermuda greens, you're definitely getting into that little more grain type of strain, although they've been able to get the grain out over the years for the most part. But I think, do you look at the splits? Do you like looking at players that handle Bermuda maybe better than bent? Is that something that's of interest to you?
Absolutely, especially obviously on the Florida swing. I've targeted a couple guys who are kind of Bermuda specialists. We heard Chris Kirk talk about it last week. I was on Kirk last week. Almost went for the turkey gambling turkey with 3 straight outrights. And I think it was Friday. He said he was putting it so well. He loves the Bermuda, kind of just feels comfortable on it. I think there's absolutely something there. Obviously, we get a little too deep with it some weeks, but yeah, I think you got to focus on Bermuda guys this week. And that's why I'm kind of leaning towards a guy like Kirk again and a couple other guys who putt very well on the Florida greens.
Kirk just missed some short putts.
Yep.
I mean, that was it. I mean, he was right there. He just, I don't know if it was a tentative stroke or he just missed a couple short ones. And that was kind of his, derailing, where Berger, I think, I don't know. I think anytime you play with that big of a lead, it's just a weird mindset. And when the ball starts to go the wrong way, you don't have your A game, really bad mistake on 3, short-siding himself. It can happen. The good news, you had a 5-shot lead. The bad news, you had a 5-shot lead on that golf course. It didn't disappear like that.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, I think the Bermuda splits is key. Those Georgia Bulldogs certainly know a thing or two about that. We'll get to Sam Burns. Can he get his form back? We know he can handle Bermuda greens, although hasn't been a great spot for him. But yeah, the splits play a role. I think off the tee accuracy, like this good drive component where, I'm in the fairway or just off where I can still attack and hit a reasonable shot into the greens. I like it. I like to see players get penalized for inaccuracy off the tee. And look, water's going to do it. Rough's going to do it. You start baking it out. I mean, last week, Christopher, on one, they couldn't hold the green from the rough with the wedge in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
It was phenomenal. It was in the fairway. They could spin it in the rough over the green.
It's amazing how compelling it makes it compared to some of the birdie fests we saw in the fall and the early portions of the season here. It's just so much more compelling when it's hard to hold the green out of the rough. And yeah, like you said, premium on hitting the fairway.
19% of the shots historically on this course from 200 to 225. 18% 150 to 175 and 16% from 175 to 200. So middle iron play. For some, that might be a club with a head cover on it, depending on what the wind is doing. So, all right, here we go. Jon Rahm, he's the favorite 9-1. He's not certainly playing like the favorite. His putter has went chilly all of a sudden. Now we know that can turn around. Rory is 12-1. His putter is performing. So right now, Rory McIlroy is a better putter than Jon Rahm, I would say, coming into this. Rahm's 9, McIlroy's 12, Vic is 16, Scheffler's 18, Bryson's withdrew. You could make the argument of those top players, Scheffler might be the best player right now.
Yeah, the Rory thing, I was stunned. I didn't even realize it when I went and looked this morning how the putter has been carrying him. And I know we kind of don't give enough credit. He was a great putter when he started out his career. He's still a great putter. But to be, it's kind of the only club in his bag that's really, truly working right now. That's pretty crazy because he's a tee to green kind of god. And we always kind of say, if he could just get the putter rolling this week, maybe he could win going away. So God forbid he figures it out tee to green this week and the putter, continues to cooperate. His history here is probably the best in the field. He's got the win and a bunch of other really high finishes. So he's pretty terrifying. I don't love betting guys in the teens or single digits like Rahm, but I'm very scared of Rory this week. If he's able to figure it out, tee to green, which he usually does here, it obviously fits his eye. That's a scary one. Scheffler, obviously hit on him at Waste Management. That was an incredible weekend. You would think this would be another great course for him. I'm not there with him. I'm kind of ready to bet him at the majors. I think he's about to go big game hunting this year. That's kind of what he's done so far in his career. Played really well in these bigger events. So I'm not prepared to bet him to win, 2 of his last 3 events. But, wouldn't be surprised if he's right there again on Sunday.
Yeah, Scheffler's found something with his irons.
Yep.
I'm curious to ask Randy Smith. He's going to join me on Thursday. And I'm really interested. I've talked to Randy some in the past about Scheffler. And, we know he can beat you with the driver. We get that. His short game's always pretty good. His putting can be a little up and down. The question is he an elite iron player? And I think 2 of the last 3 weeks he has been. He's been in that plus 5.7 strokes gain approach. When he won at Phoenix, he actually lost a stroke and a half in approach. That's how dominant he was with his driver and his putter. Yeah, I don't think I'm ready to put the win ticket on him here. Coming in, he's played here. Let's see, he's only played here once, I believe. Pull that up here real quick. Yeah, T15 back in 2020. McIlroy seems like a top 5 lock.
Yeah.
Hovland has not played good here. He hasn't finished better than T40 in 3 straight starts.
Yep.
A little surprising. Played well last week, Hovland, after missing the cut at Phoenix. I mentioned Bryson's out. I don't think I'm going to bet anybody here.
Me either.
I'm going to go ahead and just kind of scoot on by. The one thing that that's coming is Rahm is going to kick everybody's ass because the putter's going to wake up soon. It's coming. Now,
it's
when
just a guessing game. You got to guess right, and you got to bet a lot to make it worth your while. So I don't know when that, it could be the Masters. I'm just not going to ever be there with Rahm at these prices.
No. Well, let's keep going here. Let's get into some better prices, like Hideki Matsuyama at 25. Will Zalatoris at 28. I've already bet Will. I'm on Will at 28. Matthew Fitzpatrick, interesting, 30-1. 3 top 10s in the last 3 years here. Sung J M, my boy, 30-1. Terrell Hatton, 33. Adam Scott, been playing well, 35. And then we'll go to Paul Casey at 35. I heard you say yep at Hideki. He's your boy, or?
He was gonna be.
Okay.
I had a whole thing prepared for him, and then I kind of called it off to go to your boy, who you just said, Sung JM. The price break we're getting on him, favorite last week, and now he's 30-1 just off one bad week. A guy who usually responds pretty well after a miscut, Sung JM. Obviously, he plays every week, so he's going to have, the odd bad week here or there. And he was the favorite last week, expected to play well. That's a lot of expectations. So 30-1 down here for Sung Jae. I have bet that this morning on Bet365. A Bermuda legend, as we've all kind of noticed. So miscut last week, but some decent Florida reps. Not that far removed from a 6th place finish at Torrey. A couple 3rd place finishes here at Bay Hill. You're talking about the long iron play. Sung Jae's good at that too. So I'm on him there. Hideki. You talk about the long iron play that screams Hideki, and Zalatoris. I know you're on. Yeah. Again, long iron play. He's the best of the best in this field. So I would not discourage Zalatoris, but I like to try and keep it to one guy in this range. And I've sold myself on Sung JM this week.
It was certainly between Sung Jae and Will for me. And I gave the nod to Will. Will, we know, you put an iron in his hand, it doesn't matter what number it is, like he's one of the best in the world. So I'm gonna run with that with Will. We know a first win's coming. Could it? Scheffler gets his. All right. Could there be a little extra there for Will as he's perhaps on the outside looking in on this American team that we saw at the Ryder Cup, that the President's Cup's coming in? Like, okay, I've got to get that win. And we know it comes down to one club for him, and that's the putter. Will track losing 2 or 3 strokes in a tournament and finish 2nd and finish 6th. I mean, that's the kind of ball striker that he is. His driver's been good. His irons are elite. I think his short game has been better than it usually is as of late. Look, give me plus 2.5 with the flat stick.
Yeah.
And Will Zalatoris has got his first win, right? I mean, I think it's that simple. So yeah, I'm on Will. I probably play Sung Jae too. I'll probably put some money on Sung Jae. I've hit the reset button with Sung Jae. You know how we all have that player that you just can't get on the right side on, and Sung Jae absolutely set my hair on fire. Like for literally, it felt like 2 straight years. And So I hit the reset button. I'm like, look, we're starting over, Sungjae. We talked it out. And now I'm going to go ahead and probably put a little bit more money back on him here this week with Will Zalatoris. Matsuyama's, I just can't get fired up for Hideki here.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't know. I like him too much at other places. I don't like him here. I think Fitzpatrick's interesting, right? Can Fitzpatrick get his first win? You know he likes it here. He can. You know he's going to be playing from the fairways. Does Fitzpatrick have enough in what is a really good field, Christopher? This is a good field for Bay Hill. Does he have enough to get his first win?
Man, I loved him at Riviera, and then of course had to pull out. He was playing really well. The momentum was there. That kind of is scaring me off here. That little momentum kind of stunting that he had at the Genesis. You mentioned all the Tiger wins. Bryson kind of made it seem like a bomb and gouge approach can win here at Bay Hill last year, like it did. But Tiger won here 8 times. You saw Hatton win at 4 under. Molinari. It's very tactical type course, like you're talking about with the long irons, and that's why Fitzpatrick has played so well here in the past. So.
Yep.
Again, like Zalatoris, I won't discourage. If you're going to pick one guy in this range, Zalatoris, Sungjae, Fitz, I don't think you can go wrong with any of them. It's just which one you're going to be right on, and I'm hoping it's Sungjae. But I'll be upset if it's Fitzpatrick because I was on him at Genesis. I think I was on him the week before at Waste Management. Obviously, our guy Dan Rappaport's guy, he's always talking him up, telling us when to bet and when not to. So, yeah, great history here at Bay Hill. He was really in the mix. I forget which year. It might have been the Molinari year. He was like in it to the very end. So, yeah, tough one to lay off.
Yeah.
But I'm only on one guy here up top, Sungjae.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick at 30. Like if it was 40.
50. Yeah. 40, 50.
Exactly. Hatton, you feel like Hatton's putting the pieces back together right now. He's just kind of slowly trying to get himself back to the level of play that we've seen from here. And of course, the year that he won was just absolutely brutal conditions. And he just, he weathered the storm literally and finished at 4 under, I think is what won it that year. Adam Scott, nice week at the Genesis. He's coming in. Paul Casey, we haven't seen a whole lot of. We know that he'll strike his golf ball. Can he do enough with the flat stick? I think as we continue on, I played Mark Leishman in the top 20 at plus 130. Leishman has fared very well here at this place. You talk about that middle long iron play. He can hit that high cut into it. It's a good place for him. So I went ahead and played that. Didn't play him to win, but I did put some money on Keith Mitchell to win at 45-1.
Very nice. It's the year of the dog. I mean, Kirk or Mitchell, I liked a lot this week. You got to imagine seeing your boys win gets you a little jacked up and wants you to keep the momentum going for the Georgia Bulldogs. So, and Mitchell, I mean, I think it was Thursday or Friday, he rinsed 2 balls, still made the cut, and then kind of vaulted up the leaderboard on the weekend. So another Bermuda specialist, good driver of the ball, good long iron player, like you said. So yeah, Mitchell's nice play. Leishman, I've got on a fantasy squad, so I've kind of got some money invested in him already. Another guy who I love at 40 and 50-1, Mark Leishman. Now he's getting the respect he kind of deserves at this course, and he's been playing, pretty well recently. So, again, another guy I wouldn't discourage up top here.
Yeah, Mitchell's on a heater right now.
Yep.
I mean, his driver's been dominant. Long, straight. Iron game's been good. Give me another good putting week. Bermuda greens like he had last week. He'll be on the first page come Sunday.
Yep.
And like you said, he had a couple wrecks too. So he was right there to meet his buddy Sepp afterwards. It's the year of the Georgia Bulldog right now. Why not? Just keep it rolling.
Absolutely.
I like Kirk. I played him in the top 20 at plus 240. I love Chris Kirk, the dude.
Amazing guy.
I like him on these courses here in the Southeast. Certainly Bermuda greens, kind of a plotter. He hits that little baby draw every single time. I heard the announcer say last week, he said, Chris Kirk setting up dog leg greens. He hit a little fade here off the tee. I about fell off my couch. I was like, Chris, first off, Chris Kirk, he doesn't hit a fade. Nothing goes right. And if he's trying to hit a fade, it's just straight. It's not starting here and ended up over here, because that dude's swing does not yield fades. But yeah, he's got to feel good about the way he's playing. And he seems, when I listen to him talk, he seems like he's found some stuff with his putter, right? Like it's good. And then he just kind of let him down a little bit, I think, on a couple of short putts. But I'll keep the momentum here with Chris Kirk in a top 20s. We can't keep going down. You think of good drivers, you got to think of Kokrak, 45-1. It's easy to brush him over. Man, Sam Burns at 50 just feels like, what? Sam Burns? I know he had been playing well. He's missed 3 straight cuts. All right, albeit. But I still believe Burns is becoming a star in this. And when we get back into this part of the country, I get excited because Sam Burns is going to turn it around. Now, I'm not going to play him to win. I may come back to him and play him in the top 20. But at some point, Sam Burns is gonna turn this around and get his ball striking back. This is part of the game. I mean, part of this gambling is projecting when these guys are going to get back on the horse, right? Yep. Or when perhaps they're going to have that big putting week that's going to push them over the top. It feels like this could be a decent spot for Burns to start putting some pieces back together, because it's going to happen now as we get back to the East Coast. I believe in Burns. I think Sam Burns is going to become a star on the PGA Tour. What do you think?
Agreed. And this is what you want with a guy like Burns. He's playing so well recently, and then he's up there priced with the elites. He's 18-1 in an event, or he's 25-1. Now you get that break on him, 50-1. So, like you said, it's gambling. You want to get back in at a great number. If he plays well this week, then everyone's going to be on him next week, and he'll probably, the field's going to be good, but he'll probably be back down to 30-1, 35-1, I'd imagine, if he plays well this week. So, do you want to be right on that great number, 50-1, which Burns is this week? So you might have sold me on it. Maybe a top 10, top 20. He'll be back on Bermuda, which he loves, obviously. I agree. And Kokrak, you mentioned, I was going to mention him down here. Top 20, you can get plus money on a Kokrak top 20, plus 170. Sneakily loves this place. 9 trips to Arnold Palmer, 6 top 20s, and a couple of them were top 10s before. This kind of late career renaissance he's had. I'm talking back in 12 and 13. I think he finished like 6th and 4th here before he was the Jason Kokrak that kind of the gambling community loves now. So, and 3 of those top 20s are in a row. So he's playing really well here as of late. And he played okay at Riviera and the week before. So, this place obviously fits his eye. He's become a great putter. Top 20 plus money for Kokrak this week. I love that.
Yeah, I think you just talked me into him on top 20. It might be the Kokrak farewell tour, this one, and then the Players next week before he goes to the Saudi League.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even consider that.
Right, like this might be get the Players in and
put all the chips in the center.
When Kokrak, he's come out and said, I just want to make a bunch of money right now before I retire. So, see, I respect that. I respect, like, he's just honest. Like, okay.
Yeah, it'd be nice if everyone.
There's no statement from Kokrak. He's just like, this is what it is. Yeah, I talked to him, and I want to make a lot of money.
Yep.
I want to retire when I'm mid-40s, and okay, it's not. Why you guys looking at me? And then contradict the second paragraph with an agenda in the third paragraph. And come on, Xander, give me a break. Anyway, all right, so. Yeah, I'm going to go with Kokrak too. I like that in a top 20. With Kirk, with Leash. I've also got Jason Day in there plus 230.
I was going to get to him in a second.
Yeah, we're getting down now to those odds, right? Let's keep going here as we.
I like Day. Top 40 is minus 125. That seems crazy.
Yeah.
Given his history and the fact, he's played pretty well recently.
Yeah.
I would have bet this a year or two ago when he was kind of slumping at minus 125 at a course he likes. And that's going to be a tough one to lay off for me.
Yeah, I played it. I got Day right now, plus 20. I think he's feeling good. He looks good. I saw him in Palm Springs. I think he's like all systems go. You're going to get the putter. He's won here. Hit it high. Great mid-iron player or longer iron player. I wouldn't say he's a great. I wouldn't put the great label on him, but he can sling it up there. You keep going here. Homa's interesting. Homa's playing good golf. at 50, but we're not on the West Coast anymore. So, where does that leave Max? Horschel right down the road here, 55-1. I am a Gooch fan, 55. Not sure I'll play him this week. Rose, 55. Feels like a bit of a disrespect for Henley at 66.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
It does. I'm not a Russell Henley bettor, but man, total heater recently, Bermuda guy, Georgia guy, all that. So, and he was down like Burns. Another guy like Burns was down at 30-20-1 recently. Now you're getting a big old discount on him. So that's another one tough to lay off. You mentioned Homa, 10th year last year, 24th the year before. So 2 trips here, 2 made cuts, 2 top 25s. He's gained strokes putting in 5 straight. Obviously, like you said, not on the West Coast anymore, but he's becoming such a consistent player, and a great par 5 scorer. So that's another big one this week. I like Homa as a top 20. That was what I was going to say. Another plus money top 20.
Yeah, Homa chews up the par 5s. He really does. Henley's going to give you a lot of looks. He's going to play from the fairway. He's a good iron player. 66-1. I don't think I'll play him to win. I might come back to that as a top 20. Bezuidenhout, 66. I think it's interesting. Connors played well here last year, 66. Connors not quite hitting on all cylinders right now, though.
No.
He seems to be laboring a bit. Sergio's ball striking hasn't been good. All of a sudden, Fleetwood now is like one of the favorites last week at 66, but I'd rather play Day at 66.
Yeah, I agree. Fleetwood and Rose, tough to figure out, tough to guess on. Rose, it was here last year. He was like right around the lead on Saturday, and then made a 9 and walked off the course. So he's another tough one to kind of guess on. And Fleetwood, you gotta figure he turns it around here sooner or later. We're kind of making it out like I wrote something yesterday on how he almost played his way out of the players' field with the miscut at Honda. But he hasn't been that bad. He's had a couple nice finishes on the DP World Tour, so I think he gets it turned around here pretty.
Yeah,
soon.
I think Fleetwood's on the up. I think Fleetwood's on the uptick for sure. I think Sergio's on the bottom. He's going the other way. I think Cotters is just like swimming in the middle of the ocean right now. Like, what am I doing? I think through that stretch there, Day's my favorite. I'm not a Tringali fan at 70. I don't play him. Woodland seems to be on the uptick at 70. I like Cameron Young, man. Not because what we've seen as of late. I have always liked Cameron Young. I had him on the podcast when he was on the Corn Ferry Tour. Him and his dad coaches him. And I just like, man, that game to me makes sense. That's a modern game on what I'm looking at.
Yep.
The dude rips it off the tee. Okay. And he's a very good iron player. He really is. He's a very good iron player. He checks the box in the long game, and the 175, the 200 range. Like, he's right there. I could see Cameron Young keeping it going here.
First bet I made yesterday morning. Yesterday morning on DraftKings, he was 100-1, and I clicked it right away, and then it went down to 80. I've seen it go down to 70 now.
75 right now.
You said it. I mean, seems to set up well for this course. Yeah. Sneaky good Bermuda putter. 65 last Sunday. Jumped a bunch of spots up the leaderboard after kind of an iffy Saturday. I think people are a little concerned with the burnout. I'm not. I think he's kind of riding this wave right now. As long as he's got a tee time, he's going to show up and he's going to, give it everything he's got right now. He's still trying to get inside that top 50. He could set himself up for a season here, get into the Masters maybe. Mm-hmm. I think he's pretty much in the players. I was reading Rob Bolton yesterday. I think he's like next in line on the FedEx Cup or whatever. He's not all the way in yet, but I think he'll get in next week. He's just going to, kind of ride the wave here. I love it, 100-1. I'll probably bet it again, to be honest with you. I really like it.
I do too. Yeah, I wish I would have jumped on that. I did not jump on that. I might go ahead and just let this play out and try to get him like at 80.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Cameron Young, and I have been. I think his game makes sense to me on this PGA Tour. And the dude makes it look so damn easy. I mean, he just flicks it out there like, that went 335. Wow. It looked like he just hit it 200 yards. It's just easy.
Yep.
So he's such a strong dude, athlete. Like we think of athletes playing this game, like Woodland, who can, played for Kansas. Like that's who Cameron Young is. Like he's built like a basketball player, a baseball. I mean, he's a strong dude and get it out there. Luke List is in that range. I'll probably pass. Luke, I'll tell you, the craziest thing of the year to me was that +4 putting at the Farmers with Luke.
I was on your boys, Willie Z there. That was a tough one. I could have been on a real heater.
Yeah.
And Luke List, there's a great wedge in there.
I tell you, that was like, that came, I know. So I know that whole story of him, he went to Stephen Sweeney and they changed his putting stroke around. Really good stuff. We did a podcast on it. It's really insightful and like wholesale changes. And he comes out, makes everything, +4. And then the next 2 weeks, it's awful again, -6, -2. I mean, it's just funny how, that it's new, it's fresh. You flip the page mentally, no history, right? Free it up, start dropping bombs. And out of nowhere, this dude goes +4 putting and steals it from Willie Z. And got some, and was fortunate too, because Rahm didn't birdie the last, right? Yeah, he didn't birdie the last hole. So
Sungjae was there, had an eagle look to get in there.
Was there. Luke List 80-1. Seamus Power 80-1. I like Seamus. I don't know if I'll play him here. Chris Kirk, I do at 80. I've already played him. I don't know, Keegan. Like I feel like Keegan's like you just have the same conversation every week with yourself, right?
It's just so can't trust it. Can't trust the putter.
EVR 90. Hoagie 100-1. Number one. I'm looking right now. Last 16 rounds, number one proximity, 175 to 200. He hits that cut, gets a lot of looks. He's a good driver of the ball. Lanto's at 100. Lanto's on the uptick.
I've seen some Lanto love, and I'm a Lanto guy. I don't know. Maybe there's still a lot of time left in the week to make some 11th hour ads. We'll see.
I already bet Lanto top 20.
Okay.
I already bet Munoz top 20 also. I feel like I like Munoz here.
You do? You know what? Munoz might make the dartboard tomorrow night. He's a great first round leader candidate. So
I think
that's
Munoz
where
is ready.
We'll utilize him.
I think this is a Munoz spot. I think you're about ready to see him come up the leaderboard. He likes Bermuda.
Yep.
And let me tell you something. His iron game has been solid. His driver's been good. We just, here we are. Ready? Here comes that statement. Here comes that. We just got to have a good putting.
That's it. That's all it is. That's what we're doing every week.
But like Munoz, it's going like this, folks. I mean, under the radar. Lanto's going like this, folks. Those are the ones that you probably are not going to see in the front page. Mm-hmm. Munoz and Lanto. I'm playing top 20. I've already played Lanto. I'm going to play Munoz. Kevin Na, I'll pass. This is a tough place for Na, I think. I mean,
yeah.
Ortiz, Peters. You Thomas Peters guy?
I'm a huge Thomas Peters guy, and I think, again, going back to that Burns conversation, getting a huge discount on him. He was the darling at Riviera, 70-1, I think he was. Everybody was on him with the kind of the college history connection he had there, and he let everybody down, and I think everyone's off him now. He's got 2 wins on DP World Tour since November.
I know it.
So, this is an elite guy. A lot of people think he can contend with the big boys. Had that great Ryder Cup performance in 2016. So I am on Peters outright just for a small amount because the number, to be honest with you, I couldn't lay off. That's just a great number after, it's double the odds of what he was at Riviera.
I think that's an interesting name this week. I really do. Thomas Peters.
Yep. Europe, you mentioned all the past winners. European guys play very well here. So
he's not going to show up in models. He's the guy that's not going to pop up. You got to, I think he's a really interesting name. 4
starts to kind of pop in the stats. So definitely a sneaky play this week. I like Peters a lot. Maybe top 20 is the avenue to go.
There's 3 names now as we get towards the bottom here. That's just weird to see. First one is 110-1, Matthew Wolff. Wow. 81.76 last week. It's a big number. That's a big number. Patrick Reed, 110-1. Jeez. T15 back in 2020, T7 back in 18. Reed went after, started tinkering with his driver. Distance went down. Now he's in no man's land.
Yep.
Lee Westwood, 125-1. Shit, this is when Lee was like the best player in the world starting this week, 1 year ago. This week.
Yes, it was.
In the next week, I think he finished back-to-back seconds.
And I want to say the Hatton year, he also was like top 5. Like I think he got it to 1 under or something, which was 3 off the lead. I think he played pretty well that week too.
Let me add a 4th name, Ricky Fowler, 125-1. Wow. I think just listen to what I just said there, right? I mean, Matthew Wolff, 110, Patrick Reed, 110, Ricky Fowler, 125. Wow. Life comes at you fast, folks. I mean, in the PGA Tour, it's a deep, you better have it together.
Yeah.
I'm not on Fowler. I have been. I've been critical of since he went down this path with the swing changes, and I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, historically, he's been okay here. He's been a top 20 kind of guy, historically here, but I can't do it. McCarthy, I can't do it here. 125.
No,
Can't do Westwood.
I can't either. I love Denny, and I don't know.
Yeah, I do too.
I can't get behind him here.
Yeah, McCarthy's been good to me. I get him on top 20s a lot when he's on certain courses. This isn't one of them.
No.
Martin Laird hasn't been that good here. Matt Jones has struggled here. This is the first time for Sahith Theegala here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the right place for him.
I don't
either. Putnam was T4 here last year.
So I was waiting to get to him. I was stunned to see that T4, and now he's played pretty well recently.
Yeah.
Can kind of putt and chip his way to in my opinion, a top 20 this week. Been hitting the irons really well. I think he gained like 4 strokes his last start on approach. So I think it's plus 450 at top 20 for Putnam. I think I might be on that.
Yeah, I was on Putnam. What, 2 weeks ago, and he was right there, top 20. I'm probably going to lay off him here. I'm kind of a Higo homer.
I was on Higo last week.
I have to fight that a little bit, but I don't know. There's a gut here. I don't know. Maybe not. I'll probably pass. I was a little surprised by Nikolai Hogard last week. He didn't play good.
No, he did not. A lot of people liked him.
A little surprised.
Tough course.
Down there. Yeah, tough course.
Kind of show up.
Got beat up.
Yeah.
The bear just tackled him. Just slapped him in the face. Bo Hostler's putting some pieces together. I think Pat Perez is interesting.
Another guy I was thinking about. He's playing well. We had his buddy Cole Hammer on our podcast last week. He said he thinks Bo's kind of right there. I think I bet him Friday night when I saw he was at 1 under and he made a couple birdies late. It's like 250-1, so that was a nice little sweat on the weekend, even though he never really had a chance. But great putter, obviously, and hitting all his other clubs pretty well right now. Decent number on a top 20 for Bo. Kind of another guy riding a heater right now. We'll see. We'll see on Bo.
Yeah, I think Bo's on the right track. I really do. I think he's on the uptick. Things are starting to come together for him. Seeing Scheffler win probably put a little more seed in that, in his pot. Obviously playing at Texas. God, it's weird to see Cameron Davis 200-1. I can't figure that dude out.
I know.
Matt Wallace, not quite the same player as we've seen in the past, but he's played well here, folks. He's played.
I think I'm quitting on him. I did him at I think it was Riviera. Just a guy. He can. I think he played pretty well at Valero last year. At a couple top fives. Maybe Wells Fargo was another one of them. Man, but again, another guy I can't figure out. I've never been on him when he finishes in the top 10. I've only been on him when he misses the cut. So I've kind of fallen out of favor with Matt Wallace.
I really like Adam Svensson a lot. Talented player.
Yep.
Like so many, wait for it, can he putt? That's what it comes down to. But I really I like watching the kid play. Top 10 at the Honda last week. I think he's a really good iron player. I think his driver's solid. His putter just looks a little clunky to me. We haven't seen a ton of them. But I think as you start looking at the bottom here and you're looking for someone to kind of rally behind, Svensson's got some firepower. And if he gets that putter going, first time here, got that working against you, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make the cut here and as a top 20 type of play. I don't think I'll play him to win. But man, he's got some firepower for sure. I find myself, I was drawn to Pendrith last week and he performed.
Big hitter.
Like I could go there again this week. I haven't yet. I'm just continuing to work down here. Now things are starting to get, as we get really low. How low are you willing to go down? I think for me,
I have a gross play at the very bottom.
Here we go.
He's 11-1 to finish in the top 20. And I know my co-host Stephen Hennessy is going to laugh at me later when we record. But Nick Watney is down here at 11-1 to finish in the top 20. They showed him on Friday or Saturday. I think he got to 3 under, and he was having a long conversation with his caddy on 15. They were in between clubs, and he hit a great shot, and it sailed the green, and it bounced into the water. He made double. That's 2 shots away. He finished 30th. Two of those shots, he finishes tied for 16th, along with Cam Young and a bunch of other guys. So, one swing away from one of his best finishes in a while. I think he finished second at Sanderson. That's Bermuda. Not a great putter at all, but if he's good on anything, it's Bermuda. And he gained 11 strokes putting at the Bermuda, which I believe Country Club of Jackson is Bermuda greens as well. So he gained last week after 7 straight events of losing strokes on the greens. He gained 1.9 last week, hit his irons well, has some decent finishes here, albeit over a decade ago, during his peak. But, I'm not saying he's going to gain 11 strokes with the putter this week, but I think he's a little more comfortable on these putting surfaces. And 11-1 on a guy who's, was once a prolific winner, kind of still trying to find his way here later in his career, and played pretty well last week at the Honda, save for that one bad swing on Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that. They stood there for a while on the tee, and it fooled them. And he hit a perfect shot, just went over the green. That's what I was talking about. Like at that course, you can hit a great shot, get the wind wrong. All of a sudden, you're out of position, make a double bogey. 55th at Genesis, 30th at the Honda.
Yeah, he's on a little made cut streak.
so you get a couple more putts to go down. Nick Watney.
Yep.
Okay, so that's way down there, folks. We're giving you some stuff to think about here. He went to Watney. I went to Adam Svensson, the Canadian. That's some good stuff there. All right. So right now I've got my win tickets, Zalatoris, Mitchell. I'm going to play Young. Got my top 20s that I talked about through there. Griffin, Leishman, Day, Kirk. I play Kokrak. I haven't really went to head yet. So that's kind of where I stand right now. I'll probably throw another 1 or 2 guys in there, but I'm probably going to come off the chalk here and play a couple more in that. I'm liking a couple more down in the 30, 40, 50, 60 range. Maybe play Day to win this thing. Is he ready? Is he ready to take that next step? For Burns, folks.
Like you just said, I always say room for one more 30 to 50 guy.
Watch out for Burns. He's going to flip the switch eventually. 2 things are going to happen. Burns is going to flip the switch eventually, where he's going to start looking like Sam Burns again, and John Rahm's going to start making putts. So it's when those 2 things happen Now, I probably would put more money on Burns, or Rahm's going to start making putts eventually. And when he does, he's going to go on a heater. Because you know he's pissed, right? Because like, man, I'm hitting it good and I can't get nothing to go down.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting frustrating. It's bubbling up. And then it's like, okay, 1 goes in, 2 goes in. Oh yeah, I like that feel. Off we go.
Yeah.
What a time.
Which is why I like the top 20s. Just hammer the top 20s.
I do too.
Rahm's playing. I
like top. I haven't got off to it. You know, my outrights, I've been just trending right there. But I've had a good year in top 20s, and I've had a great year in head-to-heads. Been making some money on the head-to-heads, clipping at a really good rate. And that's why it'd have been nice to get Berger to the finish line last week. Oh, 19-1, albeit, you know, but it would have been, you gotta get one in there. All right, man. Christopher Powers, appreciate it. 50
Awesome.
minutes, all you need to know. Just make those bets and win a profit this week. Arnold Palmer Invitational down in Bay Hill. Still, it's a great field. It really is. I'm excited. This is much better field than last year. We turn around, we come up here to TPC Sawgrass the next week, Players Championship, you know, best field in golf. What a time. Golf is here. Weather's turning. Let's tee it up.
Great time of year. Very excited. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, buddy. Thanks a lot. Christopher Powers, go check him out at Christopher 14. No, at C Powers 14. Excuse me.
Yep.
All right. See you next week, Players Champ.
Thanks, Travis.